Then it's Susan. Rising. The buildings were mostly rebuilt in the early 1900s. So all of the Georgian buildings on it was originally a Georgian boulevard. But there was so much damage done to this side of the bus. You'll see the statue of Daniel O'Connell once again. This time, if you pay attention to the winged creatures down below, the angels, or the second one in on the elbow there, you will see a bullet hole from the 1960 and Easter Rising. Now, if anyone on board wants to do a bit of shopping before you leave Dublin City, recommend Henry Street. Henry Street is just to the left-hand side after the GPO building. So the GPO building is the building ahead there on the left-hand side with the pillars. We talked about it earlier on in the tour. I'm going to pass by it a little bit closer now, so if you want to get a better closer look at the damage done to the pillars from the fighting in 1916, you can see it a bit better. But if you want to take a tour of the GPO building and learn more about the building or the 1916 Easter Rising, you can pop in there Monday through Saturday to inquire about that. And then just after the building here now, you'll see it once we get a green light here at Henry Street. So if you were to head down Henry Street, you'll find multiple shopping centres down along there and all the major shops as well. So I'm going to pull up here on the left hand side of the street, and anyone that wants to cross over and continue by catching the 1:30 bus, you can do so. And then after that we will continue the tour up to 25 and down into stop number 1. By the time we go to 25 and then back to 1, the 1:30 bus will be gone. So I'm going to pull up here now on the left hand side, and any of you leaving us here, I'd like to thank you for travelling with Bigbus. I hope you have enjoyed my tour. If you have enjoyed my tour, the best compliment you can pay me is a TripAdvisor review. I have TripAdvisor review cards down here by the door if you want to grab one on your way off the bus. Tips and gratuities always greatly appreciated, but of course never ever necessary. If you have any questions as you hop off the bus, please do feel free to ask them. Now, if you're heading to Temple Bar at the end of your tour, you could head back to this bridge, cross over to the far side. On the far side of the river there, you will see the Merchant's Arch. Just to the right of Merchant's Arch, there's a little alleyway that's called Crown Alley, and if you were to head up through Crown Alley, you'll find yourself in the heart of Temple Bar. So we're going to pull into stop number 24 now, stop for Temple Bar and Bachelor's Walk. This is where our Bigbus Information Centre is. So this is stop number 24. Now the next bus to leave from O'Connell Street will be doing so in 2 minutes. So when we turn up O'Connell Street, what I'll do is anyone that wants to continue on, I'll pull up on the left hand side of the street and you can cross over to the far side if you want to continue on from stop number 1 without a 30-minute wait. Opposite side of the cathedral facing the opposite direction to earlier on in the tour as we head back towards the city centre. The green bridge we're approaching now is called Grattan Bridge, or the Cable Street Bridge. And 3 buildings past that bridge, on the right hand side, you have the Clarence Hotel. That is the building there with the green penthouse. It is owned by Bono and the Edge of U2. They used the penthouse there, the balcony on that penthouse, to shoot some of the scenes for the music video A Beautiful Day. The next bridge that we're approaching was installed in the year 2000 and therefore called the Millennium Bridge. But the purpose in this bridge was to reduce traffic on the very next bridge after it. There's the very next bridge further up the river there, the White Arch Bridge you see. That is one of the oldest bridges on the river, and it is the most crossed bridge in all of Dublin. It connects a very busy shopping area on the left hand side to Temple Bar on the right, and between 20 and 50,000 Normans. Ahead on the left hand side of the bus now we have the forecourts. This is the building here with the pillars. It was built by James Gandon. This was our original court system before all the major trials moved up to the building we saw up by the Phoenix Park. But it is still used these days for civil trials and mock trials for law students that attend the King's Inn College. It was badly damaged in the Civil War back in 1922, but we don't see any of that damage anymore because it was refurbished 9 years later in 1931. It became the standard for Irish whiskey. Bourbon American whiskey is distilled once. Reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons for a distinction in taste between the three whiskies. Unfortunately, you don't actually get to see Jameson from the bus. If you are hopping off here at stop number 23 to go to Jameson, you would walk straight ahead there to the building with the pillars, and just after that building, the left hand side, you turn left down Lincoln Lane, it's called. This is stop number 23. Monks accidentally discovered whiskey. They were actually trying to make perfume. But they decided what they were making didn't smell very good. So one of them, obviously the very smartest of all of them, decided maybe we should taste it, see what it tastes like. Well, once they tasted it, that was that. They decided we would be making a lot more of this stuff. So when I show up for work in the mornings, absolutely reeking of whiskey, and my boss says to me, "Are you drunk?" I tell him, "No, that's just my perfume." But he never falls for it. Is coming up next, and it is the stop for the Jameson Whiskey Museum. I say museum now, not distillery, because Jameson did move their distillery down to County Cork. So today, these days, it is just a museum. Don't worry, they have plenty of whiskey in there for you. Now, John Jameson, as much as us Irish hate to admit it, he was not actually Irish because he was born in Scotland. But he did spend most of his life here in Ireland, as bad as Tom's. B, that stands for Irish Republican Brotherhood. This is the army that won independence for the Republic of Ireland back in 1922. So this is stop number 22 on our maps. The 1916 Easter Rising. However, at the time he was not considered to be one of the leaders of that rising. He evaded capture. He was here in Dublin. Stop number 21, Nancy Hans. Off in the distance to the right hand side now we can see Guinness in all its glory. get a great view of Guinness while we're at the storehouse because we are too close to it, right in the middle of it. It's much easier to see how impressive it is now. So it starts on this far right hand corner here and goes a good way down the river. 64 acres Guinness is these days. It has grown 16 times since the original 4-acre property leased by Arthur Guinness. And on the left hand side, inside of the park here, we have the Anne Olivia. Stop number 20, traffic coming in and out of this entrance and exit on that day. Wouldn't you know, the Zoo and the Wellington Monument.
Against the light.
Over on O'Connell Street, we talk about Daniel O'Connell. The metal plaques at the base of the obelisk there, they were made from cannonballs that were fired at that battle. They were melted down and turned into those plaques. And we'll swing around about here and you'll get another view of the Wellington Monument in just a moment. If you were to continue straight on this road for another 500 metres and then turn right, you would find yourself at Dublin. Be the very first person to ever cross it when he came to visit Dublin. However, I would be willing to wager that at least a few of the construction workers crossed that bridge before him. So we've stop number 19 coming up next. Here is the stop for Kingsbridge. And after stop number 19, we're going to head into the Phoenix Park. The Phoenix Park is the largest enclosed park in all of Europe. It is so big that you can fit Central Park in New York into it twice. Hyde Park in London would fit into it 6 times, and even the country of Monaco would fit into it 3 times. Oris Sanuctaron is inside of the Phoenix Park, and that stands for House of President. The current president is a man named Michael D. Higgins. Absolute gentleman of a man, but if you were to Google him and have a look at him, you would realise that he looks exactly like you would expect a leprechaun to look. Now, we don't see Oris Sanuctaron on the tour, but if you were to look it up online or even go visit it yourself, you would probably think you recognise the building, and that is because it looks very much like the White House in Washington, D.C. The reason for this is because Oris